万门大学的小伙伴们大家好，我叫兰斐利博士我是莱特研究大学的应用神经科学的教授也是17年北京大学心理与认知科学学院的博士毕业的我今天很荣幸可以给你介绍Bob Wright 博士和 Judith Wright 博士这两位优秀的老师是我现在的导师，然后也是莱特研究大学的创始人，也是莱特基金会的创始人。那这两位老师对我的生活的影响特别的大。我18岁的时候是我高中第1名，也是橄榄球队长，然后也是我们整个芝加哥的比较优秀的一个学生。但是当时我就不是特别满意，也对生活不是特别开心。当时去找 Bob 老师。让Bob老师跟我说了一个对我的生活很大的影响的一句话。他说，其实生活并不是为了成功，而是为了成长。那个时候我整个生活就改变了，然后我去探索整个世界。那么我来这边主要的原因是希望Bob老师和Judith老师对美国人的影响可以带到中国来，也可以让我们在这边的小伙伴们一起成长。一起去追求我们的梦想，变成更好的自己。
Relationships are so important to all of us. We all want to be loved. We all want to love others. Our friends are important to us. We want to be with other people. Relationships are one of the sources of our greatest happiness in life. But why are relationships so important? Well, we know in our hearts how important they are, but the research has a lot to tell us about relationships and their power. In evolution, relationships became very important to our survival. If you think back into time when man was living in caves, and the more people they could have around them, the safer they were. The more people that could help them hunt, be able to protect them from predators. The more people we had, the safer we were, and the more likely we were to survive. So relationships actually became something as part of what keeps us alive as a species. Not just something that feels good or keeps us warm at night, it's actually something that keeps us alive. So what happened is that we're hardwired to have relationships. It's part of our evolutionary history that because it's so important to our survival. So of course then relationships are really important. And then the research is finding so many things about relationships. Without relationships, if we are alone, if we don't have people around us, don't have a lot of social support, it's very dangerous for us because it actually impacts our health, it impacts our well-being. What happens is that we're actually more prone to having higher levels of depression. We have more pain, even physical pain in our bodies if we don't have a lot of support and people around us. We're more tired if we don't have a lot of friends and a lot of support and people that we love and love us. It actually even increases the likelihood that we would get sick. It decreases our immune system. And we can also get higher blood pressure if we don't have a lot of social support and friends around us. So what they're finding in the research is that relationships are as important as food and our diet and what we drink and what we take into our bodies, that it's actually a huge part of our health. And in fact, if we are very isolated, what the research is finding is that it can actually be fatal. We can die from being lonely. So of course relationships are extremely important for us. But then what also happens when we have relationships, if we have people that are close to us, good friends, people that we can interact with, people that we can share with, people that know us and we know them, it makes a very big difference in our lives. What our research has shown is with relationships, we have so much more stimulation. We learn and grow and we can become more than we might have been because of the interactions with other people. We start to know ourselves and other people more deeply, and we start to live life more fully. The more we have people and the more connected we are, the deeper our relationships are. And what the research is even finding, not only does it make us feel better, it actually helps us become better. In the past, we used to think the Descartes type of thinking, I think, therefore I am. But now, the interpersonal neurobiology researchers and neuroscientists are finding something different. It's no longer just I think, therefore I am. I relate, therefore I am. The more I have relationships, the more I become who I can become. And there's so much now beautiful research on what happens if we have close friends, people that we know, that know us, that we confide in, that we have intimacy with, that we can share with one another. What happens if we can deeply communicate and really touch heart to heart with another person? We actually have the capacity to begin to wire one another. We can actually help shift one another's thinking, our belief systems, how we feel by our interactions with one another. And what they're also finding in the research is that how we feel does have a big impact on other people. Our moods are more contagious than the common cold. Think about that. If you have a friend or someone you're close to, or it could even be a parent or a teacher or a boss, if they come in a bad mood, if they're angry and cranky and have a very bad mood, chances are you will catch that bad mood almost as if it's a cold or a virus. However, if they come in a good mood, they're happy and optimistic and joyous, it will impact you too. That you can catch someone's mood just like we might catch a cold. So that's the kind of impact that we have on one another. What happens if we have these interactions and more people with us, and strong social support, strong relationships, people we feel close to that know us and understand us, it has a big impact on us. When we have that strong social support, we live longer. We can really, it can reduce the likelihood of premature death by 50%. It also, if we commit to a life partner, that increases our life expectancy by 3 years. So actually just deciding to share your life with someone helps you live longer. And also, men, you benefit even more so from that commitment than women. Your life is expanded in more ways than it is for women, although it benefits both men and women. Also, relationships help us deal with stress. When we're feeling really pressured and we have a lot of things to do and a lot of expectations, if we're very stressed, if we can think about the people that we care about, the people that we love, just even imagine them, just think about them in our minds and hold them in our hearts, we actually deal with stress better and we recover more quickly from stressful events. Relationships don't just, again, make us feel better, they make us physically better. We're healthier when we have strong social support. If we have strong relationships, we have less of a chance to catch a cold when we're exposed to the virus. The studies show that we're more satisfied with our health when we're with other people. And if you hang out with other healthy people, your likelihood of good health rises as well. The other thing I thought was really interesting is they found that when you have more strong social support, more friendship, more people around you, you actually feel richer. You feel more wealthy, as if you have more abundance in your life. Like if you double your group of friends, it has the same impact on your well-being as if you made 50% more increase in your income. So it really does build that sense of wealth and abundance and well-being in our lives. It helps us to build a sense of our emotions. What's really interesting also is when you're in relationship with one another, you're interacting biologically. We actually affect each other's physiology as well. There are some studies that James Cohen did, and when people were going in for a medical test, kind of a scary medical test, maybe going in for a MRI to see if there was something wrong with you, if a loved one holds your hand, and if they do a functional MRI on your brain and your loved one is holding your hand, you can see your brain just calm down, that we actually impact one another just through our physical contact with one another. So it doesn't have to just be close relationships and friends. This happens at work as well. If you have a strong relationship with your boss and also your coworkers, this is really interesting. You enjoy your work so much more. You're much less likely to have burnout in your job. You have more immunity. You're more resistant to becoming ill. You tend to be healthier. You're way more loving your job. You have more job satisfaction. And again, you live longer. You have less illness. And you feel better about going to work every day. So I know in our hearts, we know that relationships are really, really important. But I think it's good for us to look at the research that really lets us know that not only do they help us feel better, they help us become better, healthier, we live longer, and now we're finding that through our relationships, we can actually be agents of transformation for one another. By connecting with another person, we're connected as if we're on social Wi-Fi with our brains, and our way of being can impact one another. We can actually share compassion with one another. We can share love. We can share acceptance that actually can become part of one another. So if you're my friend and you're having a tough time and you're sad, or maybe you had a breakup and you share it with me, and I'm with you and I understand you and I show compassion for you and understanding, you still have the pain of the breakup, but you can start to wire in my compassion and my acceptance and my understanding with that pain, so it makes it easier to bear. So relationships are an extremely important part of life. We know it in our hearts, but isn't it good to know the research supports that as well? And I think it's important to remind us how important it is for us to be in relationship, to seek out friends, to have more intimate relationships with one another, and reap all the wonderful benefits of being in relationship.